There's a couple billion people in the world, and a million other places we could be, but you're here with me. Take a moment just to take it in, 'cause every high and every low led to this. I'm just so glad you exist.
Hey guys, I thought I'd do a quick update. So I think it was last week. Honestly, does everyone else feel like their weeks are just merging into one, or is it just me? So I think it was last week, but I had my baselines and my bloods done. It went well. My original specs was, for my left ovary it was 7, and for my right it was 8 or 9. They couldn't tell. Chest up, body stop. And then this time it was 7 for my right and 10 for my left, which, you know, overall we're up 1. So let me sort the dog out. So following a baseline, or at least this is how my clinic does it, they do a consultant appointment. So this will be my 3rd or 4th fucking consultant appointment. This is with my new consultant, who, he seems really good, but like, we'll see. So yeah, I've got that tomorrow at 2:30, and I've got a very busy week ahead, So next week I've got the consultant appointment, Monday at 2:30. Wednesday I've got the counsellor implications meeting. They're no longer calling it an assessment on autism, or an assessment point blank. They're just saying it's an implications meeting. So pretty much what that means, because I'm using a donor, it just teaches you how to like tell your kid and stuff. So it's actually really good. Like, it's very helpful. So that's Wednesday at 2 p.m. And then Friday I have a tube change. So now my tube changes have completely changed, in the preparation to start for pregnancy. Although that is not necessarily going very well. So the plan was, I stopped gas and air when I am pregnant. I don't have to stop it now, but when I am pregnant I have to stop gas and air for the first trimester at least. And my tube changes were every 4 weeks, and they have been every 4 weeks for years. I'm pretty sure I only had 2 tube changes. One was the normal amount of time after you've had the op, which I think is 10 weeks, don't quote me on that. And then the next one was 6 weeks, and that was an emergency change, and then they lowered it to 4 weeks, and ever since then it's been 4 weeks. Other than that time, the flow was a bugger, and it was being done every week or so, because I had issues, and we still don't know the reason for those issues, to be honest with you. So with pregnancy, obviously the first trimester with an SPC is an infection risk. Like, obviously an SPC is an infection risk anyway, but however with pregnancy and an SPC, that is what they worry about. And I'll make sure I get like more information for you guys, especially those who have SPCs. And even if you're not going through this journey now, it might be helpful like later on to know the kind of information on SPC and pregnancy, because there's just not a lot of information out there at all. So again, all hospitals are different. This is just how mine works. This is how my team has decided to do it. So they upped my change time to 6 to 8 weeks. It was going to start at 6, so it's 6 weeks on Friday. Flow is completely blocked. I have tried doing a washout. It's just not working. I'm bypassing constantly. I'm sleeping constantly. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen with that side of things. I might suggest, like, can we do 5 and kind of see how it goes? I'll be honest, I'm not very good at keeping up with my washouts at the minute. So, you know, that is going to make a difference, and that is on me. That's not on anyone else. That is genuinely on me, and that's my responsibility to do. I choose to do it at home, and if I don't do it, like, this is the implication of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is on me. So I know that I could do more. But yeah, I'll be honest, I do not feel well. I've only just come off my period as well. And when I say come off, like, my ovaries are still really, really hurting, and so is my back. So I'm not sure if I've just stopped and I'm going to start again, because it's really hurting. Like, really hurting. Like, I've literally got a hot water bottle on my belly right now and it's not doing fuck all. But yeah, so that might be why I'm not feeling well. What I have noticed with my periods is my bleeding is a lot heavier. I'm very unwell when I'm on now, like, very unwell. Yeah, it's just not good, and I generally think I'm borderline anemic, if not anemic. So, you know, that definitely doesn't help things. And obviously I'm very stressed and drained to high fuck. Like, I could honestly cry. I don't feel well. I've just forced myself to do dinner, and, you know, the boys, they don't have dog food, they have proper dinners, and, like, it is a lot of pressure when it's just yourself. But, you know, they come first, so... with family, poor DIY granddad is going to be put to the test all the time, and so is my brother. But you know, my family are incredible, and I cannot wait to show this journey, like, of our little Lego piece, as my granddad calls him/her, because the love that they all have for my kid already is insane. I know people say, like, the love I have for my child is insane and they're not even here, but my family, like, already, and obviously my best friend Jess as well, you know, like, I have no doubt that my kid is very much loved. There's not a shadow of doubt at all. But yeah, so there's a lot going on, and I've got to pick my donor next week, which means I've got to go to the bank, let them know that a lot of money is about to come out of my account, because the original quote that I was given, yeah, it's pretty much double. Is it double? Yeah, pretty much double. Which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. And I think it's proof that, you know, with these IVF prices, they, like, these numbers throughout the whole process, whether it be like your quote for your money, or, you know, your follicle count, egg count, all of it, like, it all constantly changes. And that's why I say, like, don't get hung up on the numbers of IVF, because it changes a lot. So yeah, I'll be lying if I said I wasn't stressed. I think I'm going to be very stressed for, like, the next fucking 18 years of my life. No, I'll be very stressed, like, throughout this process, and then until my, like, loan, etc. is all okayed, and I'll be, like, sharing more information on, like, the clinic that I chose to use. They do have a loan option. Obviously, I kind of have to go through it before I can kind of give you guys all that sort of information. But also, if anyone's got any questions, like, any questions whatsoever that they want me to answer, like, leave it here, and I will do my best to get to them and answer them, because it's quite one, isn't it? But yeah, I just wanted to update you guys on the flow situation as well. Like, God knows, if it doesn't rain it pours, eh? There's always something, and I think, you know, you guys get it. Like, 1 minute you could be fine, and the next minute that's it, like, you're bedridden for a while. And yeah, I'd be lying if I said I'm not struggling a bit, like, physically. I'm so tired. Like, I got up this morning, I filmed my YouTube video, I had something to eat, and then that was it. I was pretty much passing out on my sofa, and then I woke up at 8, and I've woke up, I've had some food, I've been up about 3 hours, and I honestly could go back to sleep. Like, I just feel like shit. So I'm starting to think it's probably to do with flow, and maybe I should ring. Yeah, maybe I should ring and say, you know, like, I know tube change earlier and then Friday it's not fucking working. It's like, I get like, it's really weird. I get some drainage from her, but nothing that's like substantial, like to the point where I am having to go to the toilet and I am bypassing. And like I said, I've tried doing a washout. It's not budging, and there's extreme pain when I'm doing it, which is not normal, and that means there is resistance, and that means do not push your body. Like, you know, there's clearly something wrong there, and it's just not worth pushing it, because you're gonna do a lot more damage than you would ringing, you know, the hospital and being like, right, I need to come in sooner. It's just, you trust me, that little 5 minutes that you're trying to save, like to ring them, you're gonna have fucking 24 hours in A&E. Yeah, I'm probably gonna get into bed and maybe chill for a bit. I was gonna look at donors because obviously I've got to make a decision next week. I don't have like necessarily a deadline to make the decision, but it takes a while for the legal things to be processed. And again, I will go into more detail with all of this because, like, at the end of the day, like, there's not really much information on this sort of stuff. But obviously I can't do that until I've done it, otherwise I'd just be talking about pure waffle. But yeah, so that takes a while, and my donor is actually from America, so it's got to be delivered to the UK as well. You know, we don't want to be paying for another baseline, I don't want to go for another consultant appointment, and I don't want to do another lot of bloods. So I've got a 3-month window before they have to be redone. And obviously I want to start really the next month. So I kind of got to put a finger out and decide on that one. Again, I keep saying all these different videos and I promise they will be done. I will do an in-depth video about donors and stuff like that. Just for anyone that's interested, whether you're going through this or you're going to go through it or you're just interested in the process. And how I personally narrow down my criteria because, like, everyone's different. But yeah, wish me luck on that because I'm gonna need it. But I think I'm gonna take some ibuprofen and go into bed and maybe do it from my bed. We'll see. But I hope everyone's good. And I hope your medical devices are not being little shits. And for everyone that's kind of poorly at the minute, keep going. Hi guys, I said I wanted to be real, raw and honest, and I guess this is part of it. I think it's part of it that isn't necessarily shown, and I think it should be because I can imagine I'm not the only one that feels this. You know, everyone pretending that this isn't part of it doesn't help anyone, let's be honest, because you feel like there's something wrong with you for feeling it. And I guess what I feel right now, there's too many things, to be honest. Far too many things that I feel. One being I feel pressure. A little bit of sadness. Actually, probably a lot. And not in the fact, like, the journey itself, more for me, the thing I'm struggling with is the donor and picking the donor, and you know, it's very easy to be like second guessing yourself, I guess. Like, am I picking the right one? Is there any such thing as the like a right one in that sense of it's not like you're picking a partner, is it? Like, but then it's obviously a huge thing. Like, there's so many different feelings to it, and you can't help, like, for my situation, like, obviously I hung up on past shit, I guess. And it's not in the sense that I don't know whether I should be doing this or not, because I do. Like, I do know that this is right and it is right for me, but that doesn't mean that you don't have, like, moments where it's, like, sad, you know, because this journey is so stressful, and, like, it's very easy to hyperfixate on, like, one thing, and I think, honestly, I'm just feeling the pressure and I feel stressed. Like, today I've got my consultant appointment, and none of the ones that I've had so far have gone good at all. Like, I've not had one that I've left and felt okay in myself, like, at all. So I think some of it is anxiety towards that, because, you know, if it's just not been great with this, like, bit, as in the consultant bit, and, like, I don't know what to expect today. I don't know whether to expect, like, more setbacks and that don't make sense and just honestly make me feel like shit, or if I'm going to get my official start day. I honestly, I don't know where it's going today, like, with it all. I'm going to assume now I've had my bloods done and the second baseline, and we've got complete approval from a medical board, etc., that there's no wiggle room for them to be like, oh, but by the way, we're delaying it by this, like, again. But you just never know with this. Like, you honestly never know. It is, if you're one of them people that need a plan, which I'm like that, this journey, like I was saying, like, this journey, like, even if you try and have things planned and organised, it just doesn't go like that. And when you're doing it by yourself, like, don't get me wrong, I have incredible people behind me, and I always feel so guilty for saying I'm doing it by myself, because I know I'm not. But it's different when you have a partner there. Like, it's just different. Like, because, like, for example, if you had a partner there, like, these sort of feelings you'd feel together. Like, you don't necessarily have, like, you pretty much have someone else that's going through exactly the same. They know the exact same emotions, because it's on the same level. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, I can imagine any women that are on this journey by themselves, like, in the sense of they don't have a partner there, you know, or you're thinking about going into it, like, this is a real part of it. Like, this is a very real part of it that people just don't show. Like, you have to worry about all the financial bit by yourself. You have to worry about, you know, all these thoughts that, like, maybe that you'd have together is by yourself. And it's not easy. That doesn't mean that, like, you shouldn't necessarily do it. It doesn't mean that this is not beautiful in its own way, because it is. Like, you'd go through this with a partner as well. IVF is stressful, like, point blank. IVF is not easy. Like, there's so many setbacks. And this is before, like, the really stressful part, the, like, how many eggs fertilize and how many blastocysts I get and stuff like that. Like, that's going to be the really stressful part, you know. But I wanted to show this because, you know, if I'm going to do this, I want to do it properly. Like, I'm going to advocate for people. You can't just show the good, and that doesn't mean you have to scare people. I don't believe in scaremongering. Like, you don't need to scare someone that's already scared. Like, that's just cruel. But, you know, it's also important to show that it is not a rainbow journey. Like, in the sense of, this is not all pretty 24/7. It's just not. Like, sometimes it is really, really, really hard. Like I said, like, the donor bit, there's so much pressure behind it. Depending on the bank you choose, like, there's so many different categories, like, so many different categories to it. And like, obviously you have your basic stuff in the sense of like height, skin colour, hair colour, eye colour, all of that sort of thing. But then you also have genetics, you also have character profiles in the sense of, you know, there's so many bits, and like, I'll touch on that on its own video, but because there's just so much to it, and how I've narrowed it down myself. But at the same time, even when you've narrowed it down, there's still part of you that is thinking, okay, but like, should I be thinking of something else? Like, should I be looking into this, or is this right? And it's not things that you would deal with on normal day-to-day life, because you don't know. Like, if you meet someone in a bar, you're not going to be like, yo, what's your genetic profile, mate? What's your ancestry? Do you know this? Do you know this? Do you know this? Like, you're just not. You're not going to say to them, right, do something that expresses who you are right now. You're just not going to do that. Like, because you're just not. Like, it's not part of it. Like, it's not what you do when you meet someone and you fall in love and all of that sort of thing. Like, yeah, the questions might come up, but how in depth certain banks go into is stressful. But I personally prefer the banks that go into detail, but it's still difficult to narrow things down. And again, it's this pressure feeling, this constant pressure feeling. And, you know, I've got to pick. I've got to realistically pick this week, depending on how this consultant appointment goes. And not only that, it's my original quote that I got given from the clinic for their bank that, I'll be honest, like, has no information whatsoever. Like, I don't know how they expect people to pick this on basic information. I personally can't do it. I know that there are people out there that just want the basic information. They don't want pictures and they don't want this and that. I can't do it. Like, I can't do it by that. But I need information. So their original quote for their bank, I'm paying double for a different bank. And it's kind of like that in itself, you know, that's a lot of money. Their quote was like originally 1,100. I'm paying 2,139, and it's kind of like, bloody hell, you know, that's a lot of money. And if my clinic didn't piss about, it would have been about £400 cheaper, because of the bank put their prices up in January. And if they had just let me pick my donor, it would have been cheaper. It's very easy to get hung up on these stupid things, and it's very easy, like I said, to hyperfixate on certain things, because it's just an overwhelming feeling. Like, it's very overwhelming. The anxiety is real, and I feel like I am under kind of like a little magnifying glass, because I just happen to have 2 medical devices, and it's kind of like, you know, I'll be honest, I've been fighting for everything, absolutely everything, for years now. And I've lost a couple of fights along the way for certain things. But for the most part, I've had to fight for everything. Like, I had to fight for the ileostomy, you know, that's, it's not something you should have to fight for. Like, there's several things to be treated like a human being. That's not something you should have to fight for. And, you know, I'm paying a lot of money, and yet the anxiety is ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous. Past medical trauma aside, like, the way I've been treated so far, and the way that I've been looked down upon, there's no other word for it, looked down upon by that first consultant that I unfortunately acquired with this clinic. Her bias towards me in general, and I think more than anything, the thing that she fixated on was autism, and it's something that I don't necessarily to today at 25 feel comfortable talking about due to past stuff. And yet I was just starting, well, not just starting, I guess kind of just starting to come to terms with it and make my peace with it and feel a bit more confident in it. And it's just that knockback, you know. And I'm just like, I've got the counsellor meeting Wednesday, and that was to do with, originally was an assessment on autism, as in if I would be a fit parent, and it's just not fair. Like, if I had done this naturally, you know, it wouldn't even come into question. Like, it wouldn't even be now that's been kind of rectified and is now being just the usual counselling meeting for when you have a donor, when you use a donor, which I generally think is really good for people. Like, I think it's helpful to learn tools. I love to learn. Like, I'm happy with that, but still part of me is kind of like, am I like being assessed? Do you know what I mean? Like, because originally that is what they wanted, because they've done absolutely everything to kind of wiggle out of it, even though there's no reason. Because like I said in one of my videos, like, I am fighting for my kid and they don't even exist, and all I want is my kid. Like, that is all I want, is my kid. And I know that people will get that, because you don't go through this for no reason. Like, you just don't. But yeah, I don't know, today, so yeah, I just think I'm overwhelmed and tired and anxiety ridden for this appointment, and like, it's just going to be a very long week. And once I've done the donor and everything, like, maybe some of that pressure will be gone, and then it's on to the next thing, which is the loan. But yeah, I just wanted to show this. It's not exactly the happiest of clips, but I want whoever's out there who's sitting on their sofa or on their bed or whatever at 7 o'clock in the morning to know that they're not alone. It's not abnormal to be worried about things. It's not abnormal to have anxiety or question if you're making the right decisions in terms of if you've picked the right donor. And it doesn't mean that you're not meant to continue your journey. It just doesn't. It doesn't mean that you don't want it. Like, I know for a fact I do want it. I've always wanted it. I can't honestly say that hasn't even come into question if I want it or not. The only thing that has is, like, if I pick the right clinic, if I done everything I possibly could to narrow down, like, the donors, like, I've saved enough money for this, if I done this, if I done the diet right. That's the thing that I question myself on, and unfortunately that's normal in this process, because it's a process. Like, it's a long one, and it can feel very lonely. Whether you're doing this by yourself or not, it can feel very lonely, and I think you constantly question it. So for any ladies out there, especially if you're doing this by yourself as an independent parent, you know, you're not alone. I'm in it with you. I feel that pain, and you know that I think one thing in this is this scary feeling that, what if it don't work? You know? Like, I don't let myself think about that one too much, because that one hurts. Like, that one scares the shit out of me. I'm not made of money. I can't do 101 cycles. Like, I just can't. I don't even think I could do 2. But, you know, like I said, I'm fighting for my kid, so I'm not going to stop doing that. Just gotta hope that you're strong enough to I want whoever's watching this to know that you are strong enough to do it, I promise. Like, you are. But it's okay to feel these moments. Like, you're allowed to feel this. It's heavy. You don't have to put on a smile and pretend that it's not, because it is heavy. IVF is heavy, especially when it's on your own. So yeah, I'm gonna go blow my nose because I feel like it's about to run down my face, and I hate snot. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, I guess.